Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I'm a voice teacher. Today I'll be reacting to and analyzing Rick Astley performing Everlong, originally by the Foo Fighters. But before I start, please go click the subscribe button and turn on notifications if you want to see my videos whenever they're posted. I've been posting a lot more recently and I would love for people to actually see them. So because YouTube's not recommending them as often, that's I think the best way for people to see them is by actually subscribing and actually ringing the bell or whatever it is that actual YouTubers say. So here's some Rick Astley.
Sometimes you just have to find a song that's going to lift your spirits and put you in another place, and I've been doing that a lot recently with music, and one of the bands I always go to, believe it or not, is Foo Fighters. So here we go. Here's my version of a song of theirs called Everlong. Hello, I've waited here for you, Everlong.
He's letting a lot of air through his sound. There's a fair amount of reverb on his voice, and you could kind of hear it when he was just talking too. It is added in the processing chain, in the vocal chain somewhere, so it's not just what he would sound like in that room, and that's going to cover up some imperfections and just make it sound like it sounds.
Never.
Tonight, I throw myself into out of her head, she sang.
I love this song, by the way. Like, this song is one of my favorite Foo Fighters songs ever, and I've been in a real Foo Fighters phase over the last 6 months or so, just listening mostly to their hits, but I think that they have one of the best catalogs of like hit stadium rock songs that exists.
Gonna.
You wanted it to be over my head, she sang. Come on.
Oh, take the high one. I hope he goes higher later.
When I sing along with you, everything I'll ever feel is real forever.
Pretty easy vocally for him so far. It's not going super high. There have been a few times where it sounds like maybe there's been too much air getting through and it's made the vocal seem a little unstable. But overall, it's a nice, like, subdued version of this song. It's an acoustic version, obviously, but I think he's capable of going to that higher stuff, and I think he's capable of doing a lot more intensity. And so as it goes on, I hope that he does that just so that the song has a little bit more contour. It's not just all the same place, because we're almost 2 minutes in now. That's and we've heard just kind of one color from his voice, and it's a nice color, but you know, I know he's capable of more. And there was actually that one time that he kind of leaned into it and he put a little bit of growl onto that sound, and it sounded really good. So I just want to hear more of that, just from a personal aesthetic sound point. In terms of what he's doing with his voice, I do think that there's a little bit too much air getting through for it to be like the most balanced sound ever. And often when we spend too much time in less than efficient sounds, it becomes wearing over time. So I do think that if he at least mixed it up, like, not saying you can't do that breathy thing, but let it go from that breathy place into a slightly more clear sound and then back, and just going back and forth between them, I think it is a lot easier for the vocal folds. It doesn't make them tire out as quickly.
Give.
Everything will ever be this good again. Only thing I ever ask of you, gotta promise not to stop when I say when I say.
Yeah, like there. He when he went to that higher note, there was a little bit better chord closure. That, to me, it sounded like a better balance of air and muscle compared to the stuff before. So he's capable of getting that same balance on these lower notes. I would love for him to mix that up a little bit more, but what he sounded like right there, I think, was really cool, and you could hear this energy in his voice. It also is a acoustic cover, and so there's kind of an expectation of it not being as heavy a lot of the times, at least vocally, but that's not my favorite. I don't love acoustic covers as much as other things, but again, that's like more aesthetic preference.
You.
Breathe out
Lots of air coming through.
so I can breathe you in.
There is a little bit of pitchiness, and I do think it's just because of how much air is coming through versus
And now,
phonation.
you know I've always
I
been
love when he goes to those growls.
out of my head, I sing.
And he's got energy in his performance. Like I think that he can let more out in his voice, but he does have energy and presence in his performance that I think is admirable.
Up.
And I wonder, I'll sing along with you. Everything I'd ever feel is real forever.
Ooh, little bends.
Everything I'd ever be is good again.
So now he's spending more time up on that F sharp, which is right in the middle to like right above most medium voice guys' first passaggio. So a passaggio or a bridge is where there's kind of a turnover that happens in the voice where you usually feel it just change in some way. And because of that, it's generally a more difficult area to sing. And because of that, if you work on getting nice balance in the middle of your passaggi, then it usually helps everything below and above it to be really good. Anyway, he's using that fact that like it's right on his bridge to make it sound more intense, because he's not making it like a perfect vocal configuration that's like gonna feel easy forever, and it sounds kind of intense because of that. He's introducing that constriction for a purpose to serve the sounds that he's doing.
Never.
So I love that he's just doing this one take, just him in his house.
Everything I'd ever be is good again. Only thing I ever ask of you.
He uses a lot of distortion in his voice, those growl sounds. Oh, that thing! Oh! He does it quite often, which is surprising. I haven't listened to too much Astley. I mean, you know, there's his hit. And other than that, I haven't really dove into his catalog. I don't know what his catalog is like, really, but he's capable of doing some sounds that I did not expect from him.
Gonna.
Gotta promise not to stump when I say when. Thank you, from London.
And then that little Elvis-y kind of sound at the end. He's good. He's a good showman. The voice, I do think that it's just a little bit out of balance from what he's capable of doing to make it like an even better performance from him. And so when you start getting in that scenario, you have to start asking, are they doing this as just a stylistic choice, or are they doing this because there's some sort of unconscious imbalance? And because there was enough pitchiness, enough instability, even though it was subtle, it made me think that, you know, it is worth just tuning in that vocal technique just a little bit. Again, though, that doesn't take away from how cool this was and the cool sounds that he was able to make, because objectively it was a fine performance. And like those little nitpicky things that I'm talking about, they don't determine whether a performance is good or not. They just determine, cool. As a voice teacher, if I see this in front of me, I'm like, yes, sick. There's so much good going on, but we can also work on this to make it just easier and easier while still having the same presence, the same energy, the same showmanship. Because ultimately, I don't want people to be thinking about their vocal technique. I want them to be thinking about their showmanship and their connection to the song. And I think that he did that quite well. But there was just that little bit that, sounded like we could keep improving on. And I think that's a really good thing. I think that it's important to look through life like, what can we keep doing better and better and better, even when you're at a really high level of performer? I think that's why I still take voice lessons really, really often. I've taken voice lessons for the last 12 years really regularly, like at least every 2 weeks. And I think that a lot of really good professionals do similar things because we need others to kind of check in on and make sure that everything is feeling good. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but it's because I'm absolutely not. And that's one of the reasons that I want to keep getting better and better. And I think that the people who end up at a really high level of anything have that drive and this kind of humility to accept that there are different ways to do things. So anyway, he's great. He's really fun.
Let you down.
Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I love comments. Please go comment. If you do anything today, please comment. I would love for you to leave a comment. Comment, 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 comment.